Let's face it, the world is a little chaotic right now, especially for travelers. I don't need to get into it, you already know. So, where do you go that's safe, secure, incredibly friendly, and jaw-droppingly beautiful? The answer is obvious. It's Norway. So, let's get into it. In this video, I'm revisiting our trip to Oslo to let you know what we loved, what we skipped, what was actually good value, and what felt like a total ripoff. So we visited Norway in late August, and we took a cruise through the fjords. But before we boarded the boat, we visited the largest city in the country, Oslo. Now, before you depart to Norway, you need to pack smartly, or you can just find yourself a magical Mary Poppins bag to fit all the different outfits you'll need for the varying weather conditions. Alright, sadly we couldn't find a magical British nanny bag, so we opted for layers, waterproof shoes, and a solid lightweight rain jacket. So the only item we missed bringing with us was a toque, one like this here, a winter hat. Of course, it started snowing when we went into the mountains, and we ended up buying a very ridiculously overpriced toque from the gift shop, which was a nice hat, but I promptly lost it, so that was unfortunate. But yeah, for the most part, if you don't go into the mountains, you probably won't need winter gear in the summer. So circling back to the city, we landed in Oslo and took the high-speed train from the airport straight to downtown. They do have a cheaper option though, a slower train that makes frequent stops, and of course they have pricey taxis, which is always an option anywhere. But the high-speed train was a great ride with awesome views of the countryside and their suburbs, so it's worth checking out if you want to spend the money on it. The train drops you off in a station directly in the heart of downtown. It's a really happening square just outside the station, and the hotels and malls are physically connected to the station, which is great for jet-lagged passengers that just want to drop their bags off and go to bed. It's a perfectly convenient station for those coming from the airport. We stayed at the Scandic Hotel attached to the station via the mall. We usually love the Scandic brand of hotels, and the location was a 10 out of 10. Unfortunately though, the room itself was not the best. It was sweltering. The fan was broken and there was no AC. A quick heads up though, a lack of AC is pretty common in Northern European countries, so keep that in mind when booking a hotel or room. The saving grace though was the included breakfast. It absolutely puts North American continental breakfast to shame. It was hosted in a great restaurant right across from the hotel. It was very delicious and it had a great buffet to choose from. Highly recommend that. Now, let's talk about downtown Oslo. It felt incredibly safe and pretty clean. Just a bit of graffiti like you'd see in most major cities here and there. The square by the train station was super busy, but we walked around, we stumbled upon a neighborhood called Vigeland, and it instantly became my favorite. It's an old industrial area that's been transformed into this modern, walkable, incredibly cool neighborhood packed with charm and interesting art. There's even a BBC travel article about it. You should check it out. I'll put it in the description. But it's a very chill neighborhood. Now for a quick regret. We skipped going inside the Opera House and the Munch Museum. We were trying to save some money and had limited time. But looking back, we really should have at least peeked inside the atrium of the Opera House. We did walk up the slanted roof of the building, and though it gave us some fantastic views of the city, I just don't know why we didn't step in the door and take a look inside. We did peek through the glass and it was stunning. So check it out when you're there and make sure you get the full experience of it. Our big plan for tackling the city was using the hop-on, hop-off bus service. I have some very frank thoughts on whether this service is actually worth the money. So check out my other video up here for the full review on that. But for today, let's look at the actual stops we made with this service. And we made 3 of them, so let's go through it. First up, the Royal Palace. Now, as an Ottawa guy, I'll say it's definitely nicer than our equivalent, Rideau Hall, though maybe not quite as breathtaking as the palace we visited in Stockholm. It's still a gorgeous building. My absolute favorite part was exploring the grounds, specifically these sculptures that were designed based on children's drawings. It gave off a very cool, slightly Tim Burton vibe, and I mean that in the best way possible. Now, we didn't go inside the palace because I believed it cost money, but the gardens were awesome and there was a really cool water fountain and a nearby street market that were totally free to explore. Great for budget-conscious travelers like myself. Next stop was the Vigeland Park. This is actually the world's largest sculpture park made by a single artist. There are over 200 bronze and granite figures capturing literally every body type. Right at the center is the monolith, 121 figures intertwined reaching up to the sky. It's not just a place for weird sculptures though. It's genuinely a beautiful park to walk around, smell the flowers, and catch some sun. Our final stop before running out of time was the Norsk Folkemuseum, or the Norwegian Museum of Cultural History. I probably said that better than the Norwegian title, so forgive me if I mispronounced it. But this place is for history nerds, and I absolutely loved it. The museum is basically a massive time capsule, and you go through different time periods of Norway. You walk through ancient Viking villages and an old Viking church, an early 20th century town replica, and some old farming practices. Norway is a very wealthy country today, but it wasn't always that way, and they didn't always control their own affairs. Walking through this museum, you really get a sense of how resilient and hardworking Norwegians are. It explains how they built one of the best countries in the world. Alright, so let's talk food. Yes, things can get pretty pricey, but we discovered a massive love for traditional Norwegian waffles and brown cheese, so we had to find a good place to get them. We found an awesome, affordable spot just outside the main downtown core. It's called Harold's Waffle. Probably didn't say it right, but I'll put it up on the screen here. It's not fancy, it's not pretentious, it doesn't have ridiculous prices, it's just a chill, fun spot to get affordable, delicious waffles. Check it out. Now, I definitely got the impression that restaurants closer to the city center marked their prices way up. We went hunting for traditional Norwegian meatballs and ended up at this one place where the service was really weird. We walked in, the place was completely empty. They told us they had no tables available. I think they were having a private party downstairs and the staff were busy with that, but still. As we were walking out the door, the greeter magically changed his mind and said, "Oh, they could fit us in over here," and they sat us at a completely empty dining room. The waitress seemed visibly annoyed that she actually had to serve us. Maybe things were crazy behind the scenes and she was just having a bad day, but the food arrived and it wasn't even hot. It tasted good, just lukewarm. We had a hard time finding good meatball spots on Google. Not much was coming up in the searches or places were closed. So if you guys know of any hidden gems in Oslo, please drop them in the comments below so that I know for next time. To make up for it, we checked out a food hall nearby. It was loud and busy, but the atmosphere was incredible. There were tons of options and the prices were much more reasonable. Also, shout out to Espresso House. It's a chain, but it's become our absolute go-to for our daily caffeine fixes in Scandinavia. We highly recommend it. So looking back, my biggest regret is just not having enough time in Oslo. There is so many cool things we missed, and we're definitely going to have to return someday. So hopefully this video helped you figure out your itinerary if you're planning a trip to Oslo, Norway. If you got some value out of it, then please hit the like button and subscribe for more travel content and other videos. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.